All right, if you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Abuja on NT Channel 5, the Unity Station. Yes, right now we have our second guest in the house. And guess what? We're going to be discussing maintaining mental wellness. Yesterday, we talked about mental health to show you how important it is for you to maintain your mental health. Okay, please, we have a clinical psychologist in the house and the person of Peace Olawale. Peace, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Welcome
much
to
for
Good
joining
Morning
us.
Abuja.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I like your smile.
Lovely
Thank you.
Is it part of maintaining our
Your
mental wellness?
You know, I have to contribute to you having better mental health.
Okay.
Because I mean, everywhere is so stressful. So imagine you go out and then everybody's bony face at you, and then there'll be one person
So we
smiling
need to
at
smile.
you. Smile.
Yes.
Thank you so much for smiling at us.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Okay,
me.
so let's start by looking at some of the habits that contribute to mental wellness.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'd like to start by saying that when we talk about mental wellness, we are now speaking specifically to good mental health because usually people just say mental health, mental health. So it's like talking about physical health. If you just say health, you're not actually saying whether it's good or it's bad. It's just the state of being, right? And so when we talk about mental wellness, we're referring to a positive state of mental health. And so the idea behind that is that your mind is in such a place that you are functioning well for yourself and then for other people, right? And so when we talk about habits for maintaining mental wellness, like on a daily basis, one of the most important things which I'm also coming to learn is thinking positive thoughts, right? And you know, because Nigeria that we are right now, there's so much that's happening. Like you wake up and it's just one stress to the other, right? And one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to ensure that you're thinking right. So one of the things that you can say to yourself is, I expect good things. Good things happen to me. So that way, whatever happens during the day, you have your mind locked in on, okay, good is still going to come out of it. So that way it helps you so that you're not as stressed as the daily challenges are coming your way. So one thing is to always have like good thoughts, ensure that your mind is in the right place every day.
All right. Wow.
With this analysis, with a lot of challenges we are going through in the country now, will an individual have bad mental health without knowing?
Yes, that's a very, very good question, right? And a lot of times people don't even realize that they're actually dealing. So, for example, imagine you just wake up in the morning, you start dealing with everything, and you're snapping at everybody. Any small thing they say, you're vexing. And some people believe that that's their nature. I promise you, if you're in a better environment, you discover that maybe you're not as angry, you're not as irritable as you think that you are as an individual. So it's very, very possible that somebody will be dealing with things that they don't know about. Just like physical health, people sometimes have conditions for a while. So until it gets completely out of hand before they now realize that, okay, there's something wrong. So it is very possible for you to have a mental illness or to have like mental challenges and not know about it. And so that's why we usually encourage someone to go for therapy. Don't wait until there's something wrong with you. Just go and say, okay, I want to be a better person. I want to live a better life, right? And so you see a therapist, just have regular conversations. Because the advantage of that is the person is a professional. So they're listening to you without the bias or judgment that your family member or your friend would listen to. Or sometimes your family member or friend is kukuma the problem, right? And so if you have a professional, they're like, okay, today my husband was really annoying, or today my wife was just behaving anyhow, right? And you have that safe space to like express yourself and not allow yourself to now get to the point of mental illness where you're now dealing with medication and so much more than that. So yes, it's very possible, but there are ways around it.
Okay, so let's look at the red lights.
Yeah.
What are the signs that when you begin to see, you know that look,
Something is
something
wrong.
is, you know.
Yes, so for different people, you have to first, one of the most important things in when we talk about mental health, self-awareness, understanding your own self as an individual. So for you, for example, maybe on a regular day, you can work 6 hours. Anything after that, it becomes stressful for you. So you now know that, okay, for me as a person, these are my most productive hours. And so I'm going to work within that period. Anything after that, please call me tomorrow, right? And so when you understand your own self as an individual, you can now begin to identify that, okay, these are my triggers. These are the things that for me don't work. So I'll give some examples just generally, but everybody is different, right? So I, for example, if I'm mentally disturbed or like if I'm emotionally unstable, I would begin to run away from certain activities. I'm afraid, I'm not confident in what it is that I'm doing. So if you find yourself being afraid to face your daily challenges or your daily experiences, that's a sign that there's something you need to look back and check. For some people, they might begin to lose interest in daily activities, or you begin to find yourself feeling hopeless. It's like you wake up in the morning and like, what's even the purpose of life? So that hopelessness, feelings of, or being also feeling helpless. So you feel like, I don't have what it takes to face what it is that is outside in the world, right? For some other people, it might be their sleep. They won't be able to sleep well. For other people, they won't be able to communicate effectively. So everything they're saying, nothing makes sense and everything, right? So these are just some of the examples. So everybody will need to understand their own self, know how you are at your best. Then you now be able to say that, okay, this is an area that I'm struggling
Okay,
with.
sorry, let me just, from your own point of view, do you
Yes.
think lack or want needs not met also trigger?
Absolutely. So when we talk about wellness, right? There's a researcher, a psychologist, who came up with 8 dimensions of wellness, right? So I won't go through all of them. However, financial wellness is one of them, right? And so the frustration that comes from not being able to meet your financial needs,
Yes.
right? It can actually cause mental illness because if you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the basic level, the first thing you need is food, shelter,
Yeah.
and safety, right? And so when a person lacks those basic amenities, right, they're already set up for problematic mental issues, right? So it's very, 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 very related that if your mental health is having issues, you want to start looking at, okay, what is my state of being? Because so much frustration when you don't have money, it is actually very frustrating,
Honestly.
right? And so that affects you. But usually people are not able to, because we don't know, like what you said, we don't realize that, okay, this could actually be a thing. So you're frustrated just because you don't have money in your account. I promise you, as you see an alert, all of a sudden your mood changes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So definitely financial wellness is really, really important in mental well-being.
All right, with this analysis, we know mental health has to do with all stages of our life,
Yes,
from childhood,
exactly.
adolescent, and ultra adult
Adult.
life. For a mother and a child, how will a mother understand that her child of maybe 10 years have mental illness?
Yes.
How will she know?
Yes, yes. So again, you need to study your child.
Okay.
So for example, you'd find that some children, they start out very, oh, they're happy, they're energetic, then all of a sudden they begin to withdraw. They don't want to interact with people, or they're afraid of meeting new people, or they meet people and they have such bad behavior, they are throwing tantrums all over the place. So when you begin to see things like that, you know that there's something that is wrong. And another thing that's really important is that you need to ensure that you're having open conversations with your child on a daily basis. I know that these days, with the way everything is, people don't have time for their children, but it's very, very important because that way you'll be able to spot maybe the child liked to draw. And so some children begin to express their mental challenges in their drawings. So you begin to notice that they're always drawing sad things, or maybe if they are drawing, sometimes we have like the concept of color psychology. So sometimes they are coloring and everything is always black, dull colors, or they are drawing people crying, or they are drawing dead trees, things that as a child should not be in their psyche, right? So once you begin to see things like that, you can definitely know that something is wrong.
So it's an expression
Yes.
of what they are feeling.
Yes, because children are not as endowed with ability to communicate.
Yes.
So you need to pay more attention to the things that they are doing. Maybe the child is playing and they have the habit of destroying toys. It is not, there's the carelessness of a child that they make mistakes and things spoil. But if you see a child that is intentionally destroying things, there's something that you need to look into as to why that is happening.
Okay, so let's look at the do's and don'ts. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
Okay, so when you talk about trying to maintain your mental well-being, your mental wellness, the first thing that you would want to do that we had mentioned it backstage is sleep. You need to sleep. Sleep is so important. We underestimate the importance of sleep, and especially in our times now, everybody's hustling. So people are throwing sleep out for all the extra money that they're trying to make, right? Which is understandable. However, there's a lot that sleep does for you. So in the process of sleeping, your mind is renewed. right? There's a concept in psychology called the consolidation theory. And what they say is that when you sleep, you're able to retain information better.
Wow.
So if you find yourself forgetting things a lot of times, maybe you need to adjust your sleep times so that you're now able to have a fresh mind because your mind needs to rest. Just like your body needs rest, your mind also needs rest. And sleep is one of the best ways that you can actually improve on that, right? So quality sleep. And not the sleep that you're sleeping and you can still see the bills
I want
in
ice
your mind, you
creams.
understand, and your mind is still
So you
thinking
need to
about the
control the
things.
needs.
Exactly. So
Yes.
you need to ensure that you're relaxing your mind. And so a lot of psychologists suggest that you drop your phone about maybe half an hour before you go to sleep so that because the light from the screen, what it does that is that it keeps your brain very active. So what you want to do is put the phone aside and just allow your mind to de-stress. And then you can begin to look at the day, okay, what are things that I'm thankful for? So that's another thing, right? Moving into the next point is gratitude, being thankful. Because when you are thankful, you begin to see things from a different perspective. Things don't look as bad. Okay, agreed, we don't have the 50 million that we want in our account, but then we're still alive. So tomorrow we can go again. We can try it again tomorrow, right?
Honestly.
And so thankfulness is also very, very important. Another thing is building resilience, right? And so resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficult situations. And we live in a country full of difficult situations, right? So you want to be able to build your ability that in spite of it, yes, this was really difficult, but I can still do it again. I can do better tomorrow, right? One thing you want to avoid doing though is not allowing yourself the opportunity to actually process the information. Because I've noticed that in Nigeria, we have a thing where we turn everything into comedy.
Yes,
It
definitely.
seems it seems like a good idea, but the truth of the matter is we don't allow ourselves to process information. So imagine, for example, that something, let's say somebody was robbed, and then by the time they come back to tell the story, they turn it into a joke. What you're doing to yourself is you're not allowing your mind to actually process the information and say, yes, it was a painful experience, right? So what you want to do is ensure that you allow yourself the time to process. For some people, you might need a bit of time, right? And as a person who is either watching somebody going through it or it's you yourself, don't rush the process. That is not to say that somebody should sit down for 1 week and be crying. No. But sometimes maybe just sitting down and crying one time, you just relieve yourself of all that
All
pent
the
up.
grief and
Yeah,
all that.
exactly. And then you can go again. So you definitely don't want to suppress your experiences or your emotions, but you want to kind of allow them to come through so that you're able to then move on to the next thing, knowing that that is in the past, right? Yeah, so those are some of the things that we can do. I can go on and on and on, but yeah, I think we'll stop there.
All right, let's go into relationship as a clinical psychologist. How do you think relationship can affect the mental health of an individual?
You have no idea. So you know what I said about positive thinking. So when you have negative people around you, you join them to be, you understand, you join them to be negative, right?
Okay.
And even speaking to like toxic relationships, there are people that every time you interact with them, you will just feel different. Like you know that your mood is affected because they say all the wrong things. They are criticizing you. They are not encouraging
They are
you.
not seeing any good
They're
in
not
you.
seeing any good. They're not seeing any good anywhere. And usually people who are like that, it starts from within. They have problems with themselves. But because they're not able to face themselves, they take it out on everything externally. So you want to avoid the situation where you're around people that are bad energy because they transmit that same
Bad energy
energy
to
to you. And so even if you are trying to be a positive person, imagine you wake up in the morning and you say, today is going to be a great day. And then you get downstairs and the person is like, oh no, this country doesn't even make sense. Everything is just rubbish. Hey, this one is bad. This one is, the neighbor did it.
Negative story.
But by the time you get to your
Complaints all the
office,
time.
you understand, by the time you get to your office, you sit down and you're like, okay, well, it seems like things are really bad. So anything that happens from there, they'll be like, oh, and she said it. You understand? So you want to ensure that your social connections, you're bringing people close to you who are of positive influence. That's not to say you won't interact with, because no matter how you do it, you will meet with people who are not the best, right? But the people around your close circle, they should be people that are of positive influence. And you also want to be a positive influence, right? Because sometimes we're always looking at, oh, it's other people, but we're actually the ones who are doing it. So yes, social connection, when you have good social connection, strong people that you know can support you, you can go back and say, oh, this is what happened, it didn't go right. And they say, don't worry, keep going. Not the one that'll tell you, now you don't get sense.
Yes.
For those who don't speak pidgin, you don't have sense,
Yes.
right? So that kind of thing. You want to ensure that your social group is people that are rooting for you, supporting you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
On a final note, we want you to advise someone who is going through serious mental
Yeah.
issues,
Mhm.
okay? And then, for those who have, what I call it, negative mindsets,
Yes.
want you to talk to them.
All right. Okay. So I think a good place to start is to say that you're not alone, right? So don't feel like you're the only person dealing with it, right? And so because you're not alone, reach out,
Mm.
reach out. So if you don't trust anybody in your circle, please get therapy. I work with a firm that we provide services like that. So feel free to reach out. Just go online, look for what works for you, and see who can be of help to you, right? And don't give up. Definitely don't give up. Things might be difficult right now, but I'm sure that they will get better with time. But you need to have the mindset that will keep you going. And if you know that you have negative thoughts, just start with something every morning. Say, today is a good day. Keep doing it. Today is a good day. Today is a good day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
myself.
I enjoyed myself. I could go on and on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Maintaining
you.
mental health is very
Honesty and
essential.
staying away from people with negative energy.
Exactly.
Don't let them rub it on you.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you. That was Peace Olawale, a clinical psychologist that has spoken to us on how to maintain our mental health, self-awareness, good relationship, relate yourself with good people that will give you positive advice, not criticizing you all the time. Your cycle means a lot for you. Have patience and be contented with what you have. Let's go on a short break. When we come back,